For the Plutus Awards Impact Series, I just wanted to talk a little bit about why I started my business, because that's really relevant to this month's topic, which is the impact of financial literacy. And so I have always been someone who really liked to talk about money. I was really interested in money. I don't know that I was really taught all that much, but I was always really interested in it. And I was actually recording for a podcast today, and they mentioned, wait a second, so you knew you needed an emergency fund in college? How did you know that? And I don't actually know the answer to that question. And so I was someone who wanted an emergency fund in college, and the only thing I can think about is that I really wanted to travel, and I knew I needed to have a secure backup situation for me to be able to travel. So I'm pretty sure that that's probably why I started an emergency fund while I was in college. Anyways, so why I ended up starting this business and why I got into financial education in the first place is because I work for TRIO Student Support Services. So TRIO SSS is a federally funded, grant-funded by the Department of Education program that is at colleges and universities across the country. And one of the requirements of our program is that we offer financial literacy to our students. And so TRIO SSS students are first-generation college students, students from families with limited access to financial resources, and students who have disabilities. And so one of the things that we have to do is talk to the students about financial literacy. And so in a college situation, what that often looks like is when students are coming into the program, we help them figure out what their first term is going to cost and how they're going to cover those costs. We help them figure out a budget for their first term. In their first term, we offer a class, and in that class, I have done a variety of things. One of the things that I have done is to offer a federal student loan repayment workshop. And so this is at the very beginning of their experience at my university. I want them to understand, how are they going to pay for school, and are they going to need loans, and what is loan repayment going to look like based on their intended career field and the salaries that they might expect to earn. And we talk about different types of loan forgiveness, and we talk about the different repayment plans, and we get out an amortization schedule to look to see how much they'll be paying if they do a standard 10-year repayment plan, and also what will happen if they pay extra on those loans. And then in our one-on-one academic counseling appointments, for me, especially as someone who's really interested in financial literacy, I often talk to students about emergency funds. I talk to them about their credit score. I talk to them about getting a credit card and how to use it responsibly. Sometimes I get to talk to students about really fun to me topics like retirement and investing and things like that. And so that was this is what my normal life was like. And then when I was really learning more about investing for myself and figuring out how we could retire early potentially, I learned a lot. And when I was learning a lot, I started to think, maybe I should offer something more to our students. And so I was actually listening to a Choose 5 podcast with Yaneli Espinal. And so she mentioned that, no one else is teaching the students, and so we should be. And so I decided that even though I was not a financial expert, that I did have something to offer. These students needed this information and they wanted this information. And as a TRIO SSS professional, I was in a really unique situation in that I had students who might need and want to take the course, and I could offer that course fairly easily, and the course would be free for our students. And so I pitched to my supervisor in November or December of 2020 that I wanted to teach the course in the spring term of 2021. And so last spring of 2021, I taught this course, and it was amazing. We talked about their relationship with money and their values and their goals, and we learned about compound interest, and we learned about debt and large purchases and credit scores, and we talked about investing and retirement and taxes and all sorts of things. I think I had 13 students maybe take it that first term, and then I'm teaching the class again right now, and so I changed the model, and so it's a little bit less time for lecture and more time for activities, and I'm also bringing in people for a panel each week to talk about whatever we talked about that week specifically. And so this is week 5 right now, and so yesterday in class we got to talk about investing, and that's I separate investing into 2 sections. So one, we're just talking about, how does the stock market work, and how can you get in trouble in the stock market, and why you shouldn't time the market, and why you shouldn't be investing in individual stocks, and all of those kinds of things. And then in week 7, we will get into a little bit more of the nitty-gritty of investing. And so tomorrow we'll have class again, and they'll work on an activity to determine their own preferred asset allocation. And then we will also have a mini panel where people will talk about how they figured out investing and what they do. So it's really fun. And also that course is what led me to create Intentional Money Life, because I figured only TRIO SSS students can take the course that I teach at the university. And it would be nice to get this information out to more students. And who knows, maybe the way that I teach it, or the way that I support students, or whatever, maybe whatever it is that I do, maybe that works for some people, and that will help to get some people educated. And one of the questions was, does financial literacy work, and who should be doing it? And so I would say I think that everyone should be doing it. And also, because no one was really taught financial education, that also means that not many people feel like they are prepared to teach financial literacy to other people. And so that's a big problem. Also, there's the questions about, what can I say and what can't I say, and how can I say it, and how do I make sure that students don't go make silly decisions based on what I say, and all of that kind of stuff. But one of the questions was, what's the impact of financial literacy? And so I just wanted to share some of the feedback that I've gotten from the college course. And so remember, these are first-generation college students. These are students from families that often have a 0 EFC, meaning that the government thinks that these students' families can pay nothing for their college education. So what's interesting is that these students are often graduating into a situation where they are going to make more money than their parents ever have. And that is a really unique situation to be in. And there's a lot that I think comes along with that they really need to be prepared for. So, okay. So what was your favorite thing about this course? One of the responses was, I liked how we actually used numbers that we anticipated using for taxes, budget, student loan debt repayment, etc. It's nice to get an actual idea of what things will look like instead of just hypotheticals. One of the questions I asked was, what are some action steps that you have taken or plan to take because of this course? And so one person said, I got my first credit card. I was very excited because I learned that credit cards are great if you want to make large purchases. I was able to learn which credit cards are the best for students and what not to do with a credit card. It was a big milestone for me. And I think credit cards are especially important because, at least in my experience with a lot of the students that I work with, often their families are scared of credit. And so often these students do not have credit cards. Their families might not even have credit cards. And so getting to learn how to use a credit card responsibly and how to use it to, for free, build your credit score is, I think, really impactful for them. Under what action steps have you taken? Another response was, in the future, I would like to open a Roth IRA account, emergency savings account, and I would also like to continue using the budget sheet. I plan to invest in stocks, and I also plan to be more cautious with the way I spend my money. I learned a lot about financial management, and I would like to apply that knowledge to the best of my ability to use my money wisely. Under, do you believe that this course will have a long-term impact on you? If so, how? One of the responses was, I do. I have begun thinking about retirement, what I want it to look like, and what I need to do so that it will look like that. I had to take a consumer finance class in high school when I did not even have a job and thus could not apply anything we learned in the course. Now that I have a job and have taken this class, I can start to think about how I can actually apply this information. I knew it was important to invest early, but because I literally had no money to invest, this information went in one ear and out the other. Before taking this class, I had never given so much thought or effort in determining what is important to me in general, and specifically how that relates to money. By doing this, I plan on making choices that will benefit me in the ways that I value. I love that. I love that they mentioned that they want to make intentional choices, make choices that will benefit them in the ways that they value. Another one of the questions was, what were some of the most impactful things or activities, assignments, topics that we covered in this course, and why were they so impactful? One of the responses, the taxes and investing and investment topics. These were the most impactful to me because they were the topics that I had been wanting to inform myself on, but did not know how exactly. Thanks to these topics and activities, I learned so much about investing, and it led me to personal research that will significantly benefit me in the future. Thanks to this course, I got better at managing my finances, opened a brokerage account, invested in the stock market, and learned how to optimize my taxes with all my old and new assets. Someone else for that question said, writing out our goals was the most impactful to start thinking about what I want my future to look like so that I can begin to understand how to get there. What was your favorite thing about this course? Someone said, Large purchases got me excited about buying a home of my own, and the course gave me hope that I don't have to be rich to live rich. What are some action steps that you have taken or plan to take because of this course? One of the responses was, I downloaded Mint, opened up a Roth IRA, opened up a brokerage account, educated myself on investing, paid attention to my HSA, made a Social Security account, funded my investment accounts, purchased quality index funds with 0 expense ratios. I've taken the initiative on investing, educated myself about tax laws as they apply to me, and started talking to those close to me about finances. That's pretty awesome. Pretty amazing. So I definitely think that financial literacy information can make a huge impact. It can change people's lives. I think it's really important to frame financial literacy around who you are and what's important to you. And I also think it's really important to ask, what is your relationship with money and where did it come from? And how can we think about that relationship and improve that relationship? Because your relationship with money can really hold you back, I think. And I think a lot of people really need to see what is compound interest and how does it work, because until you see it and you understand how accessible it can be, I think it can just be this scary, overwhelming thing. And so same with investing, really breaking it down to how does the stock market work? Why is it actually on sale when the stock market goes down? And you shouldn't just pull your money out. In fact, you should keep investing more. Or, what are the ways that you can lose money? What are the ways that investing in the stock market is risky and is like gambling? And what are the other ways that you can do it where it's not like that and you're really focusing on long-term investments and really growing your wealth for the long term? So, yeah, I think financial literacy is certainly really important, and it's important for everyone. And I also think it's very, very important for students whose families didn't have much money in the first place, because they're entering a whole new world, and of course some of them will also have student loan payments that they're going to have to be prepared for.